I'm Michael Pramawat. I live in Indianapolis, Indiana, and yeah, I play Pokemon. I got second place at the World Championship in 2010. I was using a deck called Gardevoir. So one of the things that keeps me competing is just like, I just like playing Pokemon. Like fundamentally, it's like, I think the game is just fun. There'll definitely be spots where I'm like, oh, this game isn't as fun because I remember how fun the game used to be. I kind of get jaded a little bit, but overall, it's just like, I just like to play the game in general. So like, for me, it's all been always about like the process, never the results. You know, if I just play well, the results will just follow.
Do you feel like Pokemon has ever stressed you out, and does it stress you out competing in the Pokemon TCG?
Yeah, I usually get really stressed at tournaments sometimes, but it was like more of like an anxiety, even though I knew I prepared for an event as best I could. And even though I had plenty of past results to back up that I'm good at the game, you know, it's like, I guess like at a certain level, there's always like this like back in your head, like this imposter syndrome, where it's just like, oh, you know, it's like, because your biggest critic is yourself. And, you know, even though like other people don't see you misplay, I'm watching it in first person all the time. So like, you know, sometimes I'll be like, oh man, I'm horrible at this game. I just watched myself mess up so bad. I used to get anxiety like before round one, but once we started playing, everything would be all good. I guess at the time, I was maybe taking the game too seriously, where it wasn't in a good spot mentally. But nowadays, it's like, who do I got to prove to anything? You know, it's like, I don't, like, for me, it's like every time like a thought, like an intrusive thought comes like that into my head, I'm just like, oh, I'm just being silly. I definitely want to win the World Championship. That's like one of those things where it's like, who doesn't want to be world champion? I also understand like the work involved to become the world champion. Some years I'm like really into it, and then other years like I can recall some of the worst decks I've ever played at the World Championship, and like they're like embarrassingly bad. So like there've definitely been some years where I'm just like, yeah, I kind of threw that year away in terms of like playing Worlds. But like I think every year kind of builds on each other. So it's like, even if I never become world champion, I'll be like, oh, I've had such a great run. But being world champion would be something that like, I think every player kind of dreams for.
How was it emotionally to be so close to the title? You said there was a moment in the finals where you're like, I'm gonna be world champion. How was it emotionally to kind of fall out from that?
It's honestly, it's like a very bittersweet moment. So like right after the game, devastating. But like, you know, you give it like 10 minutes, you kind of like readjust yourself, take in what just happened. And, you know, you still got second at Worlds. Once you realize like, you know, you got second at the World Championship, you can't really be too mad, right? Like, and so that like quickly like overtook the disappointment of not winning. And then it was like a celebration of that I got second. And so like so like maybe like 10, 15 minutes, I was kind of beat up about it. But then afterwards, it was like, let's put this back into perspective. You know, I just got second at the World Championship. It kind of like reinvigorated my kind of drive for Pokemon. I think like, if I did win Worlds, I don't know if I would have been as invigorated to play Pokemon as much as after that, so.
How did getting second place at the World Championships change your life at all?
The first thing it did was it kind of made me like realize how like it kind of validated how good I am at Pokemon. I was probably like a upper mid-level player, but like until you have like things to like back up your worth, you don't truly know how good you are. I started realizing, oh, you know, it's like, oh, okay, I'm like actually like one of the best, which is a really like weird thing to like think about. But, you know, and then from there, like people put like, I'm on people's radar. Like people are like coming up to me like, hey, you know, like I like your Gardevoir deck, da 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 da. It's like, you know, and so it's like you kind of reach like a small circle celebrity status within the game, which is it kind of changes how you interact with people for sure. Because like before, you know, I just interacted with my friends. You know, it was just like a cool thing like you did that like was like a hobby. But then like once you realize that like, oh, I'm interacting with people who kind of like, you know, look up to you for various reasons, you kind of shift, you shift a little bit on like how you interact with people for the better. I definitely became definitely, I guess, less crude is the best way to put it. Put away like the gamer attitude, and then became more of like a well-adjusted human. Just because like I was forced to interact with like people on like a more like them looking up to me, and I don't want to let them down kind of level. So this is the World's 2010 trophy. Second place. It says second right here. And they don't really make trophies like this anymore. It's like a relic, and it's like really cool, I think. It's pretty heavy. Like it's probably like, I don't know, 15, 20 pounds. As compared to like this trophy, actually much lighter, but way bigger. So this trophy is way more animated. You know, the third place trophy, very nice. I think it like aesthetically looks better, but like there's a certain retro feel about the older trophy that I enjoy compared to like the Pikachu trophy, which I remember when they started giving out Pikachu trophies. I was looking at my 2010 Worlds trophy and thinking, man, I really want a Pikachu trophy one day. And so I was very fortunate enough to finally get one after like a bunch of worlds of trying. It's one of those things where I'm like fully self-aware on like how blessed I am to have gotten that far in even just one world championship, let alone 2, 3 of them.
Yes, it's Mees, Brenninkmeijer, but I'm also known as Mees, which is also completely fine. It's the American way of saying it, I guess. I think at the start it was really like a competitive angle for me. I really just like competing, getting better at something, being the best, trying to be the best. And over the years, I think it evolved a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't call myself a true casual right now, but it's definitely taken more like casual vibes, showing up to events, seeing friends, and just, especially because it's been such a long time growing up with all the people around me, and it's just like a great way to see friends and like keep connected to them. I think one of the things I never really did in my career is once it started getting bigger and bigger, I never really did super well at a big event. So that's definitely the one thing, or it sounds weird to say, but it's like I've never won something.
Okay.
Never won something, always second. At best.
I was gonna say, never done super well. Yes, you have many top 4, many finalists. I think you got second place at the Dutch National Championships 3 years in a row or something.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And I think you do have a regional win, a European regional win.
Yeah, but that was like before the game really started to get big. I actually have multiple regional wins, but it was more like the pre-2014 era when regionals were not really internationally traveled and stuff. And it feels a little bit different. I would like to win one of the 2,000 player regionals, internationals, or whatever, essentially. I think that's the one that's missing.
Have you ever considered quitting Pokemon cards?
I have, in a way, quit Pokemon. I think it was like 2019. I didn't play for like a year. That was mostly because I just didn't really have the time, but I think you can never really quit Pokemon, let's be honest. It's too cool. Also just too many friends, too many memories to ever truly quit.
Walk us through 2015. That season was phenomenal for you. You had a lot of really great finishes leading up to the World Championships. What's your mindset going into the event? What were your expectations, and how did you arrive at the deck that you wanted to play?
Yeah, it's actually a very, very cool story because I wasn't on this deck at all until like the night before. I put in like a lot of testing hours with a lot of different people. I was rooming with Curtis, Lion, Jitmin Lim, and Yamato. Well, I wasn't rooming with them, but that was basically like the playtesting setup, and we made this like crazy, complicated deck. Was basically a singleton deck at that point, and we were just playtesting, and it really seemed like the best deck. But then I was playing some games with Igor, and he just kept crushing me with the totes bad deck, and I was just like, I need to play this. I need to build this. So in the middle of the night, I'm building this deck, sleeving it up, and I was like, yes, let's go. Well, I was very nervous. because, well, I haven't played that much with this deck, right? But I know the idea. I played a lot of Seismitoad, like we've played and play tested a lot of crazy Seismitoad decks over the years. And so I was quite happy to play Seismitoad actually. I was like, yes, okay, if this card is good, it's gonna be a good day. Got a bunch of hard matchups. I had to get lucky at some point. I still remember this very clearly. I don't know against who it was, but I remember playing against this Trevenant deck, being in like this losing position. And I look at my hand and like the only way it's gonna win if I'm getting super lucky. So like boss, I think it was a Shaman EX or something. And I'm like, okay, Hypnotoxic Laser has to be heads, tails. And it hits and I just win on the following turn. And I was like, okay, well, that just saved me. That made this whole run possible. And after that, it was actually kind of smooth. Like most of the other games after that went quite well. And then they make you play the top 8 match on the same day. I think they also made us play top 4 that same day. And that was versus Igor, which was awesome because we were like, well, we got there. It was actually one of the coolest matches of Pokemon I played. It was very friendly, just like joking around, playing a game. Was not the most, well, exciting match. I think one of the games was, but the other games were like more of a Seismitoad mirror where it just kind of runs away for the other guy.
Did you think I could win this thing? I could win the World Championships? And was that running through your mind at all?
Well, yes. I actually thought I was like, I'm good. After a top 4 match, I'm like, yes, this matchup, like, there are things that can go wrong, as proven, I guess, video evidence. But I was very, very comfortable at that point. I remember saying to one of my friends, it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna party tonight because I either open with Quaking Punch and he doesn't set up, or he sets up and I lose. So I was like, yeah, famous last words. I think it's to date still the shortest Worlds Finals ever played. It's quite a painful 0-2 experience. Yeah, what can you really do about it? It was sad because, well, it wasn't really a match. It was first game. I think I literally scoop on like turn 2. I look at my hand and it's just like garbage, and I'm like, okay, you know what? There's no point in playing this. Let's just move on. He got like everything as well. I think it was like my Zubat was facing a 8 Energy Keldeo by turn 2. I was like, okay, well, next game. The next game was actually more frustrating because I started with like the Mewtwo EX, and he actually had a chance. He like placed his energies in a way that I thought I could make a comeback because I could like laser Mewtwo, KO him. And I looked through my deck with my first Ultra Ball and the Mewtwo's in my prizes. And I'm like, well, I guess it's definitely not my day. Yeah, so that was it. And I was like kind of sad. But on the other hand, I was just very happy with my achievement. I enjoyed it very much. Another thing that was really awesome was that this was also the moment that Pokemon really began to change into the competitive scene we know now. Like 2015, it was already big. Like that Worlds was quite big already. But 2016, and especially starting from 2017 with all the internationals and the new cash prizes and stuff, that really drew in a lot of players. And to be at that point, one of the best players was just super awesome. Going to all the events, meeting people that know you, that you don't know. Kids looking up to you, it's all super amazing.
My name is Reklev, and I am a Pokemon player from Norway. I started playing competitively when I was about 11, and then I was taught the game by my mom when I was 5 at the kitchen table, so we played some years just at home for fun. I was a huge Pokemon fan. I was playing all the video games and watched the anime, and everything was very Pokemon-pilled through my whole childhood for sure. And you know, when I was 11, fate so just happened that we were gonna download a Deoxys at the local game store, and look, that was the local league, and they were playing Pokemon cards. And I was like, I know how to play Pokemon cards. I'm really good at it. Beat my mom 9 out of 10 times. So like, I would be amazing at this. So we started going to league, and I was bad, really bad. I've always been a very competitive person, and I think I just didn't have any outlet for it yet through anything really. So Pokemon was like the first really competitive thing I got into, and then I just kind of sunk all my time and effort into that, and it kept on going throughout the years. Yeah, Pokemon can definitely be very stressful as well, but I think it comes mostly from the expectations I put on myself. I don't think I will truly ever stop completely competing, but I will probably reel it back at some point and maybe focus more on other things. But currently, I would just like to continue competing as much as possible. If you find something to be fun and enjoyable, then I don't think there's any reason you should move away from that just because. So I'm gonna stick with it as long as I can.
How difficult is it to do well at the World Championships? You've been going to and competing at Worlds for over a decade now. How difficult is it to strike big at Worlds?
The World Championship is really difficult, but I think a lot of it has to do with the extreme pressure everyone is putting on themselves and kind of treating it different to any other event. And I think that was kind of where it clicked for me, where I started treating Worlds as just another event and not as this like a crazy high pedestal thing where you have to do something super out of comfort zone to be able to do well. I just treat it more similar to everything else, where I know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna pick a deck, I'm gonna get as good as possible with that deck, and then we bring that deck and we play it, and it should work out. And when I started doing that, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel every single time, then things started to look up again.
So in 2019, you were able to get to the semifinals with Reshizard, and in 2023, made it all the way to the finals. What did it feel like to be one step closer to world champion, and what did it feel like to be on the world's final stage?
So being a Worlds finalist was a dream of mine for sure, and I felt at that point like I had kind of succeeded regardless, even if I lost, which I ended up doing, but at least it was a really close match, and I don't think you can get much closer, because there was literally a 2 or 3 second difference between winning or losing that match in the end. Or if time was called on the other side of the table, then things would actually have gone in my favor. So that was a nail biter. But looking back, I actually I didn't play it perfectly either. I did a little mistake in the first game that I think cost me as well. I could have drawn a couple extra cards safely, because I forgot where my curly was located in the deck. It was on the bottom, so I could draw a couple extra cards safely and not risk drawing into it. And I played it safe, not knowing that I would have played it safe anyway. But I think it was the heat of the moment and a little bit of nerves, and suddenly you do some slip off. I definitely felt a little bit more confident this time than back in 2019. Because in 2019, I had never been anywhere close to top kit, actually. I had never lost like a win in for Worlds or anything. So like making it to top 8 and even winning the top 8 match was kind of surreal to me. I think it took like all my mental power to get that far. So like in top 4, I felt like I was mentally defeated before we even started, and I definitely made a few mistakes there as well to cost me. And I think he's a really good player as well, like Shintaro, which is terrifying to play against. I think I was almost too chill going into the World Championship finals, again because I felt like I had succeeded already. So there was a few things that I didn't do that I would normally do, like wear a watch, for example. So I had no idea how much time was left, which of course ended up being a huge factor in the end. I knew that the matchup would favor, or like if time was ever called, the matchup would not favor me, because Gardevoir is a slower deck again, usually comes from behind and takes the prize lead back only at the very end of the game. But the most of the game it will look like you're losing based on prize cards, and that will obviously be a huge issue if time runs out in the game 3 scenario, which it did again.
At what point did you know you were playing Gardevoir at Worlds? Like, how far out are we talking? Did you lock it in and say, I'm just going to get as great as I can at this, even after NAIC? At what point did you know?
I think after NAIC, I was fumbling a little bit to decide again. So I tested a lot of different decks and variants. I had actually like a pretty solid lineup, say play like a conquest format at Wolves, I would have done really well because I had like a lot of good decks lined up. But I locked in Gardevoir really early, actually. I don't think I ever played a deck that much before an event, like ever. That says quite a lot because I grind a lot of Pokemon, and I played a lot of Gardevoir. I got Arceus rank on multiple accounts back when Arceus rank was actually really difficult to get to on ladders. I was grinding a lot on a lot of different Smurf accounts to, just get a lot of games in.
So you have Smurf accounts so that people don't know what you were testing for an event.
Correct. I like to play a lot against random opponents because I think it's fun, but I don't like everyone knowing which type of cards I'm testing, so I'm using accounts with different names than normally when I do that stuff. And the majority of my testing is actually just through online clients, and most of my testing as other people are just random ladder matches, but I do a lot of solitaire testing as well, just against myself, and just figuring out a lot of things that way. I also am one of these acoustic people that play a lot of games in my head too, so to try to figure out how things play out. After the finals, I still felt like the whole experience was just surreal, because we were in Japan, right? Like the big mecca of Pokemon, and I was in that hall for like 4 hours, people queuing up and just wanted to like meet and greet and sign autographs, take pictures, and they're all like really excited and happy for me still, like regardless of the outcome there. So I had like the craziest day regardless. So that definitely helped, lessen the loss there. So, but yeah, it was again like very, very surreal.
Do you plan on keeping your trophy card? Are you going to sell it? Or does it mean something to you? Do you like to keep stuff like that?
I gave it a lot of thought, and I think that especially the trophy cards, they just has too high of monetary value to keep around. Because say if you just have it lying around in your apartment, right? Then it's worth like almost a little apartment in itself. So, you would never be able to cover that in insurance, for example, and you'll kind of probably have to store it in like a bank wallet or something. So I actually sold both my 2019 and my 2023 trophy cards, and I kept the trophy instead as more of a memory, and then I let the card go to the high-end collectors instead.
Is Pokemon how you make a living, and can you describe a little bit how you make a living doing the Pokemon TCG, if that is indeed how you live your life?
So I'm a full-time Pokemon player, and my work and job and everything is centered around Pokemon. So my, say, more day job, so to speak, is being a coach, a teacher for other Pokemon players to help them improve their game again, and just become better and get more awareness of how to play, and hopefully enhance their experience. So that's what I spend most of my time doing. And then of course you have some prize money here and there from events that also help, some sponsorships and so on. So if you group it all together, it becomes very, very livable for at least me, and I know multiple others that can make a living off this as well. But it's definitely relatively privileged. I wouldn't recommend it if you're starting from bottom, but if you just happen to end up there, then it's an extremely fun career.
Do you think you'll ever win Worlds?
Statistically speaking, there's a relatively low chance I'll ever win the World Championship, but I will definitely try. And I said the same thing for every international as well. I thought that this will never happen again, surely. Chances so low. So, but as we can see, it's like anything is possible, right? If you try hard enough. So I think there is a chance, but I still fear it's just not, high enough. But we'll definitely try,